Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode in our study of moral philosophy. So, last time we saw what are human acts and acts of a man. Now, let's go a little bit deeper into the aspect of actions and see how and when are responsibility kind of modified in these acts. So, when is an act fully voluntary, or what are the so called modifiers of responsibility? So, let's straight away dive in. And first and foremost, we need to understand that for a human act, it is one that is fully voluntary only when a person has full knowledge and full consent. But we see that often something reduces either our knowledge or our freedom or consent. Now, these reducing factors, okay, lessen how responsible we become for our actions. That means there are some factors which make us less responsible for our particular actions that we do. Now, these reducing factors are called as the modifiers of responsibility. So these reducing factors are called modifiers of responsibility. Now, what are the five main modifiers? So first is ignorance. This affects knowledge. Next is passion. It it is strong emotion that affect the consent. Then you have fear, you have force, physical compulsion, and ultimately habit. Now you may ask, why is it important for us to know or study the modifiers of responsibility? Well, as we have already seen so far, we cannot directly make a judgment based on only one criteria. There has to be a number of things we have to check. We have to check the situation, what the person was doing, and whether he was forced or whether he did it voluntarily. So there are so many factors. These modifiers also play a part in this. When we want to prove somebody morally guilty or morally innocent, we see that we need to also consider these five main modifiers. So let's see why it is important for us to study them. First and foremost, because not all actions are equally voluntary. Now, as we know, the moral actions are based on knowledge and freedom. But in real life, we see that people are acting under fear, force, habit, ignorance, strong emotion, or immunity. Now, these factors can affect how deliberate or how free their actions are. For example, let's say a person who steals out of fear. That means if he doesn't steal, there'll be no food at home, his family will starve. Now, a person who steals out of fear in this situation is morally different from someone who steals greedily. So, therefore, studying these modifiers help us to see this difference. That even in each action, there is a bit of a difference. Next is to judge actions fairly. Now, when we are evaluating moral or legal situations, we must be fair. So, these modifiers help us to avoid unfair judgments. For example, a child breaks something. What do we say? Lack of knowledge, it's a child, hence less responsible. A drunk driver, on the other hand, kills somebody. Here we see that this is because of voluntary intoxication. He knew that if he's driving, he is not supposed to drink, but still he drinks voluntarily. Hence, he becomes more responsible. So, these modifiers also help us to distinguish between malice, weakness, and what we call as an innocent mistake. Next, why we study them is also to understand why people do wrong even when they don't want to. So modifiers help to explain this internal struggle that is happening with the people. Okay, the internal struggles of human behavior. And therefore, in this way, we see that it helps us to see why people are doing wrong even when they don't want to. What is propelling them to do wrong? For example, a person with a bad habit, for example, anger, may genuinely try to stop, but the habit still acts. Now, understanding this helps us to treat such persons with compassion while still expecting responsibility. So, we know that if a person is genuinely trying to avoid something, but still out of habit it happens, we can treat such persons with compassion. So, we will not treat the person the same way as we treat somebody who does it on purpose. Next, also, we study modifiers of responsibility to apply ethics in real life situations. So, we see that these modifiers are used in medicine, they are used in law, they are used in counseling, okay, in teaching, in police work, and basically in everyday life. For example, if suppose there is somebody who acts under duress, we see that the punishment is reduced. On the other hand, somebody commits a crime unknowingly, so it is invincible ignorance, so the person is not guilty. For example, in medicine, imagine a doctor misdiagnoses a brand new disease. He is not morally responsible because nobody knows about this disease, no studies have been done. So even if he misdiagnoses it, there is no kind of responsibility on him. And here we see that ethics becomes practical only when we consider these real life situations. Otherwise, it just remains as theory. So it's only when we put it into practice that it can be applicable to these real life situations. We can say, this is practical, this is something that is useful for us. Another reason why we study them is to know when someone is truly to blame. Well, we always try to see who is at fault and who is right. So in this situation, if we study the modifiers of responsibility, it helps us to answer such questions like, did he really choose the action? Okay, or should he have known better? Or was he forced? Was he acting out of fear? Okay, or was he acting out of habit? So this prevents us from condemning the innocent. Okay, also it prevents us from excusing the guilty, and also it makes sure that we don't oversimplify moral cases or complex cases. Another reason why we study modifiers of responsibility is to improve our own moral decision making. Now, understanding these modifiers also help us to evaluate our own actions honestly. For example, did I really choose to say that hurtful word, or did I say it when I was emotionally charged, or was I under strong emotion when I said it? Did I fail because I was lazy or for some other reason? Is my bad habit getting worse because I am not trying to stop it? So this, in a way, self awareness that is there also leads to moral growth. Another reason, to understand the moral difference between I did it and it happened to me. Very often we say it happened to me, but actually we have done it. So, how do we understand this difference between I did it and it happened to me? So, basically, when we say that I did it, here in this case, we see that the actions are willed. Okay, so I have willed it, I've done it willingly. When it happened to me, we say it means that the actions have happened due to external pressure. For example, giving money to a thief when he has placed a gun on your head. You're doing it out of fear, so it is not a free act. Being physically dragged is force, it is not an act at all. So, therefore, this distinction is also very important in both philosophy as well as moral theology. Now, another reason is to teach or to learn that morality is not just black and white. Okay, so when we come to study ethics or moral philosophy, sometimes we basically think that everything is clearly stated, everything is like black and white. But here we see that no, we human beings are very complex. So, as humans are complex, we see that so are our choices. Okay, so therefore, as we are complex, our choices also are complex, and therefore this modifiers help us to answer the nuances in moral judgment. Okay, so for example, as we said, we are complex, also our choices. So therefore, when we study these these modifiers of responsibility, it helps us to understand what are the things that we need to take into consideration when we are making a judgment, because there is no clear cut rule or clear cut policy that is there. You have to apply various principles and see, did it fit, did it not fit. So it's a long process, it is not something that you can directly say straight away. So this is basically with regards to the reasons why we study these modifiers of responsibility. Now, as we have seen, there are 5 modifiers of responsibility: ignorance, passion, fear, force, and habit. We shall take a look at each one of them in detail. So the next time we'll take a look at ignorance as a modifier of responsibility. So till then, be ethical and stay safe.